Hello everyone, my name is Curtis. Today I want to do a review for Sistas, Season 10, Episode 3. Alright y'all, so look, I just finished watching the episode, right? Like I literally just finished watching the episode. And let me tell you something, I am so upset when it comes to Officer Green. I knew something was off about him. If you all go back and watch my Season 9 videos, you will see that I always had a dislike for Officer Green. Like I never liked him, I never cared for him. I thought he was doing too much. I hated the fact that he had so much screen time, and now it seems like he's going to have even more screen time. And the thing that he did at the end of this episode, this stunt that he pulled when it came to Danny, like I cannot believe it. I was so glad when she picked up that skillet and started beating his ass. Like he is doing way too much, and that is the reason why women need to have protection inside the house because of people like that. Yo, I am so frustrated and so pissed and so mad. Like, oh, I cannot believe that. Like, really, Officer Green, like, you really sitting here pushing the door open when she's trying to tell you to leave, talking about I'm not leaving until I get what I want. Excuse me? And then, y'all, I cannot believe the end of this episode. Like, I'm really upset. Like, when it comes to this show, my favorite on the show has always been Sabrina. And then when it comes to my second favorite, it has always been Danny. So to see Sabrina in a situation where she's in a car accident, she's fighting for her life, and now we got Danny sitting over here, she's basically fighting for her life when it comes to Officer Green. It's just a whole lot going on, y'all. And you know what? When it comes to this episode, I think instead of me just doing like a full review where I go scene by scene, maybe I'll just have a conversation with you all. We can just talk about the episode, more like a recap. Let's just recap the most important things that happened and let's just have a discussion about it. Opposed to going scene by scene. Oh, wait, before I get into the recap where I'm talking about things that are super important, let's talk about this conversation that Maurice was having with Calvin, y'all. Did you all hear the fake crying in the background when Maurice was trying to explain to Calvin what happened to Sabrina and the fact that she got into a car accident? Who the fuck decided to do that? Tyler Perry, let me tell you something. Come here real quick. Brother, who the fuck was in charge of that? Did you all hear the crying in the background when he was trying to explain it? That is what you go. See, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Maurice. This is the reason why I've always had an issue with Maurice when it comes to the show, because I feel like Maurice is basically a filler character. Basically, he is used to kind of fill in time until other things are put in place for certain scenes. And that's the problem that I have with Maurice. It's like he's just there pretty much kind of like in between, right? It's like this scene needs to happen, but in order for the scene to happen, somebody needs to kind of get to a certain place, or certain things just need to kind of fall into people's lap in order for the scene to make sense. So they kind of use him as kind of like an in between, and that's the reason why I have a strong dislike for Maurice's character in general. Even though I do feel like he has been acting his ass off so far in the season. But y'all, that part where Calvin was just crying and he was trying to explain it, I was like, come on now, Tyler Perry. Stop it. Whew. All right, y'all. I'm on one. Let me just calm down. Let me relax. Like I said, I just finished watching the episode, so I'm hyped up because I'm telling you, that last scene, that shit pissed me off. But you know what? Let's just get into the recap, okay? All right, y'all. So let's have a conversation about Andy, Cheyenne, and their mother, right? So when it comes to Cheyenne, she ended up getting arrested. And the reason why she got arrested was because her and the people at the party, they decided to get naked, get into the pool, and then they all decided to have an orgy. Nasty, trifling as fuck. But they decided to have an orgy. They ended up getting caught, and she ended up going to jail. So she did reach out to Andy like, hey, can you please get me out? I did think it was weird that when she called Andy, it just went straight through. You know, normally it's like, it's an inmate calling from such and such. It didn't say any of that. But long story short, Andy does eventually end up going to the county jail. She was able to pull some strings and she was able to get Cheyenne out. But in the time in between, like when they were doing the paperwork to try to get Cheyenne out, they were having a conversation, and Cheyenne was basically saying that when she was 8 years old, Andy left her because Andy was like, our mom raised us better than that. And she's like, well, how do you know how I was raised? Like, you wasn't there. Like, you left when I was 8. And then Andy, of course, had to explain, I went to college and I went to law school. I ended up getting a job. Like, what did you want me to do? You want me to just stay behind? Like, what can I have done to really help you? And so we saw in this moment that she kind of blames maybe like her childhood and things that happened on her. And then also something that was really important was Cheyenne actually brought up somebody, and this kind of threw Andy off. The person's name is Marvin, and this, like I said, it threw Andy off, and I was like, what's going on with this? Like, I need to get more information about it. And then also, I want to say something as well. So if you all watched my last review, I was saying that I wasn't really feeling the season so far because I can kind of see the direction that it's going. Because there have been plenty of shows that have had similar storylines, or maybe not similar storylines, but similar characters. So I can kind of see where things are going. But I will say this when it comes to Cheyenne. Towards the end of this episode, she ended up receiving some voicemails, right? So she listened to her voicemails. it was a guy named Tank. He was like trying to figure out where she is. Like, hey, what's going on? I went to your mom's house. I went here. I went that. Like, you weren't there. So I am interested to see like a little bit more about what's going on with Cheyenne. And then even with that being said, I am kind of skipping ahead, but even with that being said, her mom was saying that she brought Cheyenne there because she was hoping that she can have like a new beginning, right? And Andy was like, what do you mean a new beginning? And so her mom actually pretended like she had to go to sleep because earlier in that conversation, Andy did the same thing when they were having a conversation about why she went to jail. And so I am pretty curious to see how this Cheyenne character kind of plays out because I wasn't expecting the voicemail with the guy kind of trying to figure out where she is. And then with the mom saying that, it's the new beginnings and everything like that. So I am curious to see how this will play out. And also, when it comes to Andy, Cheyenne, and their mom, like the storyline, when we go back to the previous episode, Cheyenne, remember she walked into the bar, she saw the man. She asked the man if he was a drug dealer. He was like, no, I'm not a drug dealer. She was like, oh, that's too bad because I could use it to pick me up. He's like, well, I have some in my car, right? Well, when we fast forward to this episode, she actually has drugs with her. So her and Andy, they try to sneak into the house. Of course, the mom, she was up. She saw what was going on. And so Cheyenne actually went into the bathroom. She took a bath. And while she was taking the bath, she actually snorted the cocaine. And I was just like, you really brought this into Andy's place. Is this really what we're doing, Cheyenne? Listen, Cheyenne may have had a terrible upbringing. She may have had a fucked up life. It may have been a situation where she felt second best, third best. Maybe she just never felt included. Maybe she felt like she was never heard. So she just felt like she had to do this for, in order to be seen, right? But it's just like, come on now. You went to jail. You're out here having sex with random people inside the pools, trifling as hell. And now you bringing drugs inside of Andy's place. After she got you out of jail, she was able to pull some strings and you doing drugs in her bathroom? I can't with Cheyenne, y'all. I'm interested in her character development, but she's getting on my nerves. In regards to Zach and Fatima, they really did not have that much going on. When we first saw them, they had just finished fucking, so they were in the bed throughout the entire episode. And so the conversation that they were having, one of them was pretty much about Zach wanting to purchase the gym. He said he wants to purchase the gym. He wants to make it like a family chain. I thought that was pretty cool. But since they were talking about the gym, Fatima did bring up Mr. Keys. She said that she doesn't really trust him. Zach was saying that he feels like she is overprotected right now because she's pregnant and hormonal. She was like, no, that's not it. And since they're talking about Mr. Keys, Fatima does bring up the fact that, he and Andy's mom were flirting. And so Zach was like, do you think they knew each other back in the day? And I was like, I feel like that's a good question. And then he was like, do you think they fucked back in the day? And I was like, did they fuck back in the day? I would be curious because they did seem to me a little familiar. It wasn't like people who just met for the first time. They did appear to be just a little familiar. So I am curious if there's like a backstory when it comes to those two. Yo, so we're about to circle back to Danny and Officer Green. I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, but we're about to talk about it a little bit more, okay? So when it comes to Danny and Officer Green, they actually ended up running into each other outside of the grocery store. So they were both grocery shopping. But when it comes to Danny, she was putting her things in her trunk. Officer Green actually rushed up to her while she was putting her things in the trunk, and I believe he actually grabbed onto her. So of course she's turning around like, what the hell is going on? He's like, it's just me. And so he was basically saying like, you haven't been returning my calls, my text messages. And she was like, listen, what we did, it was pretty much a mistake. He was like, I don't feel the same way. Like, that's not how you were acting before. She was like, listen, it was a mistake. Like, I cheated on my man. Like, this is not something that I should have done. Like, this shouldn't have even happened. And he was like, maybe it's just time for you to move on. Like, clearly you were not happy. That's why you fucked me, right? So maybe you should just move on and be with me. She was like, listen, that's not something that I'm trying to do. It was a mistake. I do not want to be with you. And he was just pressing and pressing and pressing. She was like, listen to me. It's not going to happen. This is not something I want to do. And eventually she says bye. She gets in her car and she drives away. And as she's driving away, he just looks on. And once she actually like bends the corner a little bit, he turns around, rushes towards the trash can, throws the grocery bag that he had in the trash, and then storms off. And I was like, this motherfucker's crazy. Fast forward, Danny is at her house. She is vaping inside the tub. And if we back up a little bit, she was actually at home initially eating like a bunch of random food, like she was pregnant or something. She was eating pretzels and ice cream. Hold up. Wait a minute. You know what I just thought about? No, it's only been a day, so there's no way she could be pregnant. Never mind. I was about to say, she better not be pregnant eating that shit. But she was eating a bunch of food, and she went into the bathroom, got into the tub, started vaping, and then somebody knocked on the door. And so she tried to pretend as if like she didn't hear, like maybe they'll just go away. But then the person started banging on the door, right? So she actually goes up to the door, like, what the hell is going on? She's like, who is this? He was like, it's Officer Green. And so she does open the door. He's like, hey, you know what? You didn't return my calls and return my text. I really just want to talk to you. She was like, listen, I do not want to have a conversation with you. It was a mistake. Like, this is not something that's going to continue forward. He was like, but I cannot stop thinking about you. Like, you put it on me. Like, I can't stop thinking about everything that happened. And she's like, listen to me. I am not interested in being with you. I do not want to be with you. Please leave me alone. And she's trying to close the door, but he's not letting her close the door. And so the two of them are talking. And as they are talking, he actually starts to kind of like grab at her stomach or grab at her arm. And she's like, what are you doing? And so she's telling him over and over again, like, this is not something that I want to do. But he is acting like he does not understand what she is saying. So once again, she tries to push the door more, right? She tries to close the door. And he actually like, no, you're not closing the door. And just pushes the door open and then rushes in and closes the door behind him. So Danny's like, what the fuck is going on? And I was saying the same thing. And he was like, you're not about to treat me like trash. Like, you're not about to use me and then throw me away like trash. And I was just like, is this really happening? And I know what Danny's mind, she's probably like, is this really happening right now? Like, is this man really doing this right now? And so she is just like, listen, I told you 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I don't know how many times I can tell you. This is not going to happen. And so the two of them, they go back and forth for a little while, but then he approaches her and he says, I'm not leaving here until I get what I want. And I said, oh. And then next thing you know, he grabs her, throws her on the bed, starts to choke her, lifts up. I'm not sure if she had on like a dress. I'm not sure if she had on something, but you can kind of see like, you could basically see that she had some panties on, right? And so he started to kind of like grab towards her private area. And so she's able to kind of fight him off a little bit. And then he tries to attack her again. She takes this skillet, and I said, thank God she had that skillet. And she starts to hit him, right? And so she hit him a couple of times, but she stopped a little bit. And then he calls her a crazy bitch or something like that. And so then she actually starts to hit him again and starts hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. He ends up falling on the ground. She is just hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And I was just like, oh, Danny, are you going to unalive him? Is that something that we're going to do? Like, maybe we shouldn't go that far. Like, I know this is a hectic situation, but we don't want to do that to a police officer, right? And so she does eventually stop. He gets up and he rushes out. And of course, she closes and locks the door. And I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, Danny, you need to call the police. Because something that's important to note is that as he was approaching her, he was saying, you know, well, who are you going to call? Because she was saying that, you know, I'm going to call. He was like, what, you going to call the police? So what, you going to call me, basically? And I was just like, Danny, you need to call the police and let them know what's going on before he goes to the police station and says that you just randomly attacked him. Like, you don't want that type of drama. Like, I need you to call the police. I need you to get a restraining order. And also, I need you to get some heat. And also, I need you to reach out to Tony so he can come and beat his ass again because, no. Y'all, I'm looking at my notes, and that's pretty much everything that happened in the episode. I think I may like this format a little bit better when it comes to the show. Just kind of like recapping and talking opposed to going scene by scene. I feel like that may work better when it comes to this show, but let me know how you all feel about this format compared to my previous formats, if possible, okay? But that is the end of the episode. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. You all take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.